Well, during this year's CattleFax annual industry outlook here at the Cattle Industries annual convention, attendees heard that large protein supplies and some trade uncertainty could in fact put some price pressure on the different classes of cattle here in 2019. That's the near term. But what about the long-term outlook for the beef cattle industry? With us on the segment today to go into that just a little bit more is CattleFax's Chief Executive Officer, Randy Block. And let's just talk about that. Where is this industry headed long-term?
Well, I think you got to feel pretty good where we are, Russell. You know, the industry's gone through a pretty good run. We've increased these numbers significantly in here over the last 3 or 4 years, and yet these prices have really done a nice job of stabilizing. Producers are profitable. Most segments of the industry are profitable in here, and that's really the final test right there is profitability. And what drives profitability? Demand. We've had great domestic demand. Our export demand's been good, so I think you got to feel good longer term, even though we're likely going to see a little bit of price erosion going into the early part of the next decade.
Well, you touched on it lots during your presentation about that beef demand out there from consumers. One thing you also noted is these producers that weren't just here in this room but across this great country of ours are in fact producing higher quality beef. You said they are listening to today's consumer.
Oh, we've done so much better job in here over the last 15, 20 years. We've heard what the consumers want. They want high quality, great tasting, nutritious beef that tastes good, and our producers have done a wonderful job. We've seen a 25% increase in choice and prime grading, a 50% increase in the supply of prime and choice product, and again, the price spreads have still been able to maintain about a $10 choice select spread during the course of the year, regardless of that increase in supply. That's strong demand.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, even though the message was also that the pipeline is very full, we do have some larger supplies of protein because we're doing a better job of listening to that consumer. It's helping to create more value for that beef we're raising back at home.
Well, it really is. If you go back and you just think about this, I think sometimes we make this stuff just too complicated. Export markets added $8.5 billion of value to the U.S. beef industry in 2018. What does $8.5 billion mean? It means every calf we produce on our ranches is worth $360 a head more than they would if we weren't trading. So let's put that in perspective. Calf prices are going to average about $1.65 in 2019. Without exports, they'd average about $1. So this is a big deal. I mean, this is where a lot of our revenue is driven and driven back through to our industry segments. And again, these are markets that we have to pay attention to. We have to hear what the consumers in these other parts of the world want from the U.S. producers.
What about those younger generations out there, Gen X, those millennials? What type of impact or effect are they going to have on beef demand, and how does the industry need to respond to those?
Well, I think we need to respond. We need to respond. That's the first thing. We need to hear what they're saying. They want different things. Things are more important to them maybe than they were the baby boomers. It may be source verified product, traceable product, humanely raised, all of these different attributes that we can stand behind as producers. All of those things I think have increasing value to the new consumers coming along. And so I think it's an opportunity and a responsibility to listen to those consumers.
Hey, you wrapped up your presentation basically talking about wild cards out there for the U.S. beef cattle industry. What are some of them? I did see fake meat on there.
Well, I think we're going to see fake meat continue to make some inroads. It's getting cheaper and cheaper to produce. There is a segment of our population that will likely navigate that way. Am I worried that we're going to lose a significant market share? No. But I do believe we will see that market grow as we look down the road.
Well, as always, we appreciate you being with us today and giving us some of that market insight.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I wish the very best to all your producers out there. Hope they have a wonderful year. Again, when we count our blessings, we've really been through tremendous growth in protein supplies the last 3 years, and yet these markets have held together very, very well. So I'm optimistic that we're going to have another solid year in 2019 and again in 2020. A little bit of price erosion, but not a train wreck any stretch of the imagination. So.
All right, well said. Again, we've been visiting with Randy Block, CattleFax's Chief Executive Officer. With that, we'll go ahead and send it back to you.
Thanks, Russell. For more than 50 years, CattleFax has been providing producers with the tools they need to make more profitable decisions. If you're looking for top-notch beef industry research, information, and analysis, then visit the website CattleFax.com.